This is a nice picture I tried to draw, brothers and sisters, of crazy Eren as Titan and Mikasa. Mikasa does not look as good as I had hoped, but anyway, this is best I could do. Attack on Titan, okay. Episode 9, The Left Arm's Trace.
Well, hello, my brothers and sisters of the Nerd Nation. I, as always, am Jim, here to bring you another review on Shingeki no Kyojin, Attack on Titan, Episode 9. The last episode was pretty action-packed, I think, and really found us with, at the end of it, kind of having that oh shit moment, as Eren went and emerged from the decimated and smoking husk body of the rogue Titan that had been, kicking ass and taking names for them the prior, that episode and the episode prior to it. So this episode goes and starts off kind of on a different note. We're branched out and we see something about basically the elite guard of the elite survey corps. And as we actually see, we see some of them kind of going out of town the day before the or right before the shit kind of hit the fan in Trost over there. And we see, really, I mean, the episode should be titled, or at least the first half of it should be, Captain Levi is a Badass. Because Captain Levi and his group and... well, really, like I said, just that elite survey corps. They've gone out on a mission to basically reclaim one of the other towns that was within Wall Rosé over there. So we go and we see some really cool action in the first few minutes as we see Captain Levi just being like a total badass. I mean, it starts out where we see one of his soldiers, just kind of half hanging out of a Titan, and he's pretty much telling the Titan, screw you, when Captain Levi, comes. He's going to kill you. He's going to kill all of you. Kind of gives it one last stab as it chomps down on him. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, man, just like a bat out of hell comes Captain Levi and just, slashes this thing across the back of the neck. He then goes and surveys the situation. He sees one Titan to the right and two Titans to the left, and the rest of his squad kind of comes in to back him up, 4 or 5 others. And he's like, all right, you go and take care of this one over here. I'll take the left flank. And it's like, dude, you realize there's 2 on the left flank, right? Well, he goes crazy, man, and jumps to another roof, and then it's kind of cool because I'm always making mention of how they got those stupid looks on their faces where they just, like, it's like expressionless. They just sort of look like, And he goes and he says, you with your stupid looks on your faces or whatever. And he goes and, one of them tries to go and bat at him, and he jumps, dodges out of its way, shoots around him, gets behind him, and then slashes his ass. The other one, this bald-looking, weird-looking cancer patient Titan, he goes and he sees him, and as he's kind of like jumping up and flying through the air, he takes both of his swords and just goes, and just flings them right at him, and he goes, and catches him in the eyes, and this thing's like, holding its eyes. He lands on top of its head, and then as he's going to retrieve the swords, he's like, don't move around too much. I don't want to get dirty, right? So he goes and pulls the swords out and slashes this fucker, and then goes and looks down at his sword and sees that he's got some Titan blood on it and everything, and he's just like, oh, man, there we go. Now it's all ruined. Now it's all screwed up. So anyway, this guy is definitely a badass, and it's kind of cool just to see some of these more trained, because up until now, it's really been kind of a shit show. The Titans obviously are just an overwhelming force. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster, they have, the big numbers. And up until now, really, we've seen kind of, new recruits and I guess kind of the lesser, experienced ones, part of the Survey Corps and the Recon Corps, all that, going against these. Because we haven't really seen a whole lot in the way of Titan killing, other than Mikasa really kind of being dominant, killing them. So this was really kind of a cool treat. And then they get word that Trost is under attack, or that they need to get back to Trost, and they kind of figure out that maybe this colossal Titan, maybe they breached the walls again, and they're going to be on their way back there. It then goes and takes us in because, of course, at the end of the last episode, we were left with Eren just kind of being like half-conscious and falling into Mikasa's arms. We then go and get kind of a little bit of a flashback into Eren, seeing, like, from his perspective, from the moment on the inside of the Titan when he got chomped down on, his arm got, cut off. He'd already been missing his leg from the knee down. And they actually show it's really kind of nasty. And the other idea of a name for this episode should have really been called The Belly of the Beast, or Out the Ass of a Titan. Because this is really just kind of nasty. He's in the stomach of the Titan. You assume it's the stomach. And there's other bodies in there. And some of them are still even alive, right? And he's in there, he's alive, and there's like this other girl, and she's kind of like sobbing and crying. You sort of see like this massive hair, and then she goes and sinks down into the Titan. And he winds up basically just going into a blind rage after seeing all this type of nonsense. And whatever his deal is, as far as being able to turn into a Titan or whatever, at first I didn't know if maybe he somehow took over the other Titan, became the other Titan. No, he went and somehow transformed, man, like all crazy freaking Hulk or Abomination style, and just went, right? And then all of a sudden you see this Titan, the Moses Titan with the beard and everything like that, and all of a sudden you see this arm just come plunging out of its mouth, right? And it falls to the ground, and then you just see Eren just burst out of, basically like its ass, and just burst out of this Titan. And then he sees this smaller one, then he just kind of goes on a rage, and you just see how he goes on a rampage, and it's just kind of like a Hulk smash, you know, Eren kill, because he just goes and just smashes and kicks, and so we see where he got to this point. Now, and then it's kind of neat how it shows this whole thing, because then we just presume, and we know what everything that happened from that point on. You know, he obviously kind of saved Mikasa, he was fighting other Titans, blah, 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 till eventually, you know, he wound up being where he was. Now, it kind of skips over what exactly happened when he, you know, when he pretty much came out of that Titan and when Mikasa grabbed him. But we learn quickly what wound up happening, because then all of a sudden he kind of like comes to, and he had been saying, I'll kill them all, and kind of in his dreams. And he comes to, and he's sort of like in Mikasa's arms, and Armin's there as well. And there's pretty much like a ton of guys from like the military, army, whatever you want to call them, just sort of surrounding them. Because now, of course, they're in the safety of the next wall, Wall Rosé. And they're all like pointing their swords and stuff at him. And basically this commander, Kitz, I think his name is, he was the one that was in the headquarters, the supply depot, basically telling everybody, you know, we got to hold our ground, we got to take care of this, you know. He's out there, and so apparently they saw him transform or come out of the Titan, because he's like, are you human or are you a Titan? And he's questioning him, and Eren has no idea what's going on. You know, he's, are you human or are you a Titan? And then it kind of goes and it fills in the pieces for us, and the manga did a little bit of a better job explaining this, in my opinion. But it kind of then went and it goes and it shows Jean and a few of the other ones, Connie and stuff, and they're talking, and kind of like, what happened, and where's Mikasa, and where's this, and blah, blah. And then Jean's kind of like, yeah, well, you know, we swore that we wouldn't tell, and everything, and basically it's a secret, but eventually everyone will find out if humanity lives long enough. So basically we can derive that in between the time that he collapsed in Mikasa's arms, those you know, trainee, recruit, whatever, who had seen them, they pretty much all said, listen, we're just going to keep this shit hush-hush, right? Because this is Eren, this is our buddy who we fought with for the last 3 years and, you know, trained with and everything else. We got to figure out what's going on. So it then kind of goes back, and we have this whole, you know, situation where basically they're just scared. You know, the army, the military, and although the episode moves kind of slowly and not a whole lot happens in it, I can understand where they're fearing. They saw him come out of a Titan, right? So they don't know if it's like a spy for the Titans. He's now inside their walls. Maybe this is, you know, the Titans' next grand move is that they're somehow able to transform. Somebody have a shapeshifter Titan. So I get the fear, and I get all that, you know, the kind of dissension amongst the ranks, because it's really just fear of the unknown is what it is. We also wind up seeing it at some point during this whole exchange, because, like I said, Armin is sitting there, and he's with Mikasa and Eren, and Eren's still just kind of like, I have no idea what's going on, you know. And this commander Kitz or whatever tells him, and he says, you know, and he's basically got a cannon, you know, fired at him or whatever, a PE, I think he refers to it as, and I'm assuming it's some kind of explosive. It's basically a cannon. He's got it pointing at him, and he's just waiting. Guy up there is just waiting to see his hand go up and say shoot, so they can blow him away, you know. So he keeps asking him, obviously, if he's a Titan or is a human. And Eren keeps, you know, of course, answering, like, what the hell is wrong with you? Why would you ask me? He's like, why does everybody think I'm a monster but me? So we know, too, that Eren has no memory of what happened. He kind of then starts to piece things together and go, oh, wait, but what if? And he looks down at his hand, and he says, what if my arm actually did get bit off by that Titan? Because then he goes and he looks at his arm, and he sees that his jacket, his clothing is like, you know, ripped and gone from, you know, here down where his arm got bit off. What if, you know, that did happen and I wasn't? Because he, up until now, it was like probably fragments, and he probably just thought like a dream. He thought it was just, you know, this shit didn't really happen, right? There's no way that could have happened. So he's starting to piece things together and what happened. We also get a quick flashback into, because if you remember a few episodes ago, we saw his father, and we just kind of heard him say, no, and don't do that. Well, we go and we see his father, and he's telling him, about the key in the basement. He gives him the key and he says, remember that that the key is important. Don't lose the key. Don't lose sight of it. And remember to make it back to the basement. That's got like the answers or whatever, right? So that's kind of like the clue. That's the carrot they're dangling for us. And then he also goes and he injects him with something, and that's kind of where that other part of that flashback happened a few episodes with Eren going, no, father, no, So whatever the deal was and whatever Eren's power is, I mean, I can pretty much deduce, or I can come up, 2 + 2, I can say is 5, and even though it's not, but you get what I'm saying. I can put it together and piece it together and say that his father had something, if not everything, to do with him being able to transform somehow or another. Very, very cool power, obviously, to have, but, the question now is, can he control it? Is he a danger to others? So the episode ends up shortly after that. He's, of course, being berated and questioned, and Eren basically just goes and finally just yells out, because he's thinking, he's like, I got to answer properly, I don't want anybody to die, and then all of a sudden he just, yells out, he's like, I'm a human, So this Commander Kitz or whatever just goes and he's like, okay, well, in that case, I'm sorry anyway. So no matter what he answered, I guess he was going to kill him regardless. He goes to raise his hand for the cannon fire to come. Mikasa had basically come out there with her swords, and she's like, listen, I'm pretty good at cutting flesh here, so who wants to come at me? Come at me and see if you can get to him, because I will fuck all you up. And that's what Mikasa's telling him, right? Because she's a bad mama. And Armin's like, no, we got to think about a better way to do this and everything else, Well, Mikasa goes to grab Eren, and they're going to try to, shoot her 3D maneuver gear and get out of there, because they're kind of pinned up against the inside of this wall with everybody sort of surrounding them on 2 sides. And right as that cannon is about to fire, all of a sudden we see Eren kind of just go and just, and we see all the smoke rising and everything else. The cannon fire creates more smoke. And then it's really cool because the episode winds up ending with, the smoke starts dissipating, and this Captain Kitz and everybody's kind of, looking through it, waiting to see what happened. What is there? Is he gone? Did the cannon fire destroy him, right? And then we go and we wind up seeing just sort of this half carcass of a Titan. He transformed back into a Titan, but only partially. He looks almost like the Colossal Titan, but only part of it. He's from the rib cage up, and Mikasa and Armin are kind of inside of his rib cage. He basically just shielded them from the blast, or maybe he did transform enough, but then he actually, some of that was blown away by the cannon fire that hit him. I don't know, but that's how the episode ends. He's just this grisly looking, one-eyed, boned Titan, half flesh looking mother, what. So really, really kind of cool, and I'm definitely excited and cannot wait to see the next one over here. So I guess the episode question for me would be, if you were his friends, his people, that saw everything that was going on, some were friends, some were just recruits, would you be able to keep a secret like that? Now, regardless of anybody finding out or whatever, would you be able to hold your tongue knowing that, who knows? You don't know anything about it. He could be bad. He could be good. This could be something that just triggered, for instance, a comparison to the Hulk. It just gets triggered when he gets angry. And then all of a sudden he's a mindless freak that just goes and starts stomping over everything. Just because he didn't hurt you guys, though in the one instance doesn't mean he won't hurt you in the next. Would you be able to keep a secret such as that? Such as, hey, my buddy over there turns into a giant Titan and can kill people. So that's the question. Leave your answers to that in the comments down below. Feel free to hit the thumbs up, the like button if you think that I deserve it, and subscribe if you have not done so already. We will look forward to catching you in the next one, Nation.
Remember, brothers and sisters, to share, subscribe, spread the word of the nation to others, and of course, if you like watching the videos, watching them is always much appreciated. Have a nice day.